What are we doing?
Oh, hello there. So this is
Miles.
Miles, and I thought he could be in our introduction today for my video that you'll be watching. Meadow came to me one day and she said, Mom, guess what? Barbie grew up here in Colorado. And I was like, what are you talking about? Barbie who? And she goes, the doll, Barbie, the lady who made Barbie. And I was like, really? So we looked it up and we found out that Ruth Handler grew up in Denver, went to school here. She met her husband here. She had a really cool life, like very colorful. And for a woman who grew up in the 60s, it was tough for a woman. And so I really loved her story. So I thought we would go and visit where she grew up, where she went to school, which is a really cool historical high school. And then we'll go visit her family graves.
What was her kids' names?
Her kids' names were Barbara and Kenneth. So she named Barbie after her daughter, who didn't like it very much at first, but after a while she realized that, they're going down in history. And Barbie brings in $100 million a year. So very lucrative toy. And Mattel, I'll tell you all about how that came about. So I hope you enjoy my video. Please like and subscribe because that helps me on our journeys that we will be bringing to you. And I'm going to give Miles a nice little massage.
What is the massager called?
It's called a golly.
The box is right there.
A golly gosh horse massager, and it has this ball inside of it. It rolls around, and they really like it. So that's what we're doing today. Ruth Handler was born Ruth Mariana Moscow, November 4th, 1916, to Jacob and Ida Moskowitz, Polish immigrants, the youngest of 10 children. Her father, a blacksmith, arrived to Ellis Island in 1907. Her mother, Ida, became ill after the youngest was born. At 6 months old, Ruth was sent to her sister Sarah's house until she was 19. She worked in their drugstore soda fountain and first got her enthusiasm for business. Located here, what is now the Colorado Convention Center. In the early years, full of shops such as Greenwald's Soda Fountain, where Ruth Handler's family helped out and worked. Now hosting events like comedian Ron White, the 12th largest in the U.S. First to open in 1990, totaling 800,000 square feet. to an expansion in 2004 to double the area to 2.2 million square feet, hosting the largest Great American Beer Festival, winning the Guinness Book World of Records, Garden Home Show, Expos, and World Science Fiction Convention, to name a few. As well as the Belco Theater, located inside to have many famous entertainers perform, such as Dolly Parton, Diana Ross, Alicia Keys, Drake, Elton John, Drew Carey, Bruce Springsteen, the Gorillaz, Tori Amos, the Jonas Brothers, and Sting, amongst other famous names. I also want to show the big, infamous Blue Bear sculpture by Lawrence Argent, 40 foot tall and costing $424,000, nicknamed the Peeping Tom Bear, but actually part of the I See What You Mean art exhibit installed in and around the convention center.
Go. I'm holding it.
Ruth went to high school at East High,
Take a picture in front
where
of it.
many other famous folks, like actor Don Cheadle, Ward Bond, Pam Grier, and a story I'll bring to you soon, Hattie McDaniel, attended.
So you gotta
Not to mention silent film actor Harold Lloyd, T.J. Miller, Douglas Fairbanks, singer Judy Collins, guitarist Bill Frisell, Philip Bailey, and Larry Dunn from Earth, Wind and Fire, and songwriter Carl Caldwell.
high school faculty.
Founded in 1875, one of the three in Denver. Here stands the memorial to Dennis Sullivan, a man who arrived penniless to Denver. He worked up to investing into mining, utilities, and commodities. Born in New York in 1837 and dying in Colorado in 1915, he is recognized as a shrewd but kindly man. His monument built here for him as a tribute to agriculture and mining by artist Leo Lentelli, 1919. East High School began here as a leaky, mud-roofed, one-room log cabin schoolhouse called the Union School. Teacher O.J. Goldrick and 13 children attended at first, and then to grow to 30 students in 1877, 700 students in 1889, to this beautiful historical place of Jacobean style by architect George Hubbard Williamson, an 1893 graduate of the Old East High School. Of early 17th century British halls of learning and American colonial period to be an example of the style of Philadelphia's Independence Hall, the site of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, 1776. In 1991 to be declared a historic landmark. In 1932, Ruth met her husband, Izzy Elliott Handler, here as teenagers. Their families, unsure about their relationship, they fell in love. They didn't want them to marry too young. Ruth went on to go to University of Denver, During her sophomore year, she vacationed in Los Angeles and landed a job at Paramount Studios. Elliot, soon to join her, and in 1938, they married in Denver. To begin their careers, Ruth continued her work at Paramount, and Elliot enrolled at the Art Center of Design as a lighting fixture designer, as well as sketching designs for lucite, accessories, and home decor. Elliot to design and Ruth to initiate the sales, also to negotiate a very large order with Douglas Aircraft die-cast models of the Douglas DC-3 airplane to be given to corporate customers for Christmas. At only 22 years old, the couple were in business. During World War II, President Roosevelt announced plastics to be restricted to military use. The handlers were set to do a large order of plastic picture frames, changing the grade to wood. As Ruth's idea, the frames were a success. They chose the names Mattel, Matt for their colleague, and L for Elliot, never occurring to them to include Ruth in the company name. To accompany their search for new products, they followed upon Arthur Godfrey's new popularity and the ukulele. They created the Yuka-Doodle and sold 11 million by 1957. They also produced toy guns during the Western craze of the 50s and the TV show The Mickey Mouse Club as a sponsor. Mattel sales climbed to $14 million. In 1956, while on vacation in Switzerland, Ruth and her daughter Barbara were mesmerized by a window display of 6 11-inch dolls dressed in different ski outfits, very similar to the idea Ruth had had 5 years earlier, a child's doll with an adult body and mini outfits. Ruth decided to push her idea for 3 years. In 1959, the Barbie dolls were put on the market after many fails where she was told no one would buy a doll with breasts. Barbie named her for her daughter and Ken named after her son, brought to the market to follow. By 1964, the Saturday Evening Post reported Barbie products supported 5,000 workers in Japan, 800 in California, press agents and advertising executives, Barbie having her own secretary to answer her 20,000 fan mail letters per week. In 1968, the Barbie fan club grew to 1.5 million in the U.S. In 1993, a second issue Barbie was sold in the original box for over $5,000. In 1970, Ruth lost a breast to cancer, spending less time at Mattel. Major decisions were made without her consent, and by 1973, Mattel came under a microscope by the Securities and Exchange Commission. Ruth and her company pleaded innocent. They were fined. By 1975, Ruth was forced out of the company she had started. Ruth kept her strength, bravery, and courage through her business ventures and cancer diagnosis. She was very unhappy with the breast prosthetists on the market. They were vastly inadequate. She wanted to make better ones for other women, and she began her company of Nearly Me, where she has helped thousands of women. And in the early 1980s, she explained to a reporter, "When I conceived Barbie, I believed it was important to a little girl's self-esteem to play with a doll that has breasts. Now I find it even more important to return that self-esteem to women who have lost theirs." Ruth Handler won numerous awards for accomplishments in business and philanthropy. Women of the Year in Business, Los Angeles Times. Inducted into the Toy Industry Hall of Fame, Toy Manufacturer of America. Receiving the Volunteer Achievement Award from the American Cancer Society and the first Women of Distinction of the United Jewish Appeal. Ruth Handler passed away April 27, 2002, at Century City Hospital in Los Angeles. She is buried along with her husband and family at Hillside Memorial Park in Los Angeles, California. Her husband, Elliot, also to help design toys, not only Barbie, but Chatty Cathy and Hot Wheels cars. Here in Denver, we can visit and pay tribute to Ruth Handler's Moscow's family. Brother Joseph and Lillian Moscow. Brother Reuben and Esther Moscow. Brother Louis and Lillian Moscow. Parents Joseph and Ida Moskowitz. brother Aaron, and Jean Moscow.